chickens. This first place we went to on the first day was pretty small, but boy was it packed, like to the brim with stuff. Almost knocked a bunch of stuff off the shelves. Found these are pretty cool. I found a lot of stuff I liked at this place, but not a lot of stuff I loved and had to have and travel back with me, you know what I'm saying? The next day we went to one of those like thrift malls that had a bunch of booths in it that we walked around in. Found a lot of booths full of interesting things. Nothing that was like exactly my style, but I could still appreciate them, you know what I'm saying? The art on this little lantern was calling to me though. I like this plate, but it was only the one plate, so I didn't get it. Here's a bunch of old vintage Christmas in this booth. Is this an old phone? I can't move the thing. As we continue on our journey, I found more unique stuff. I really want one of these like quilt holders, but I didn't want to travel back with it, so I didn't end up getting it. Star Wars. Is this a costume? As we went further into the back of the store, I found some booths that had stuff I liked a little bit more. I did end up grabbing this. I don't know, I just thought they were more eclectic and had things that were more up my alley besides these helmets, but whatever. This particular booth, I just loved the vibe of. I could not get over it. I actually did a double take around the store to go back and look at it again, but I digress. Does anybody actually use a flask, like in their daily life? I found this, which was really up my alley, but I was trying to figure out a use for it or a place for it, and I was struggling. Then we found this thing, which is very cool. It's like a vintage picnic basket that you plug in, and it keeps the stuff warm, and it appeared to have everything to work. This next place was one of those stores that like buy pallets of stuff that like didn't sell or like a store can't resell for some reason. I don't know if that really counts as thrifting in some people's books, but it kind of counts as mine. I guess like secondhand, maybe damaged stuff. Still a hell of a lot cheaper than buying it at the store that it originally was supposed to go to. I did find a lot of not Target brand things, you know what I'm saying? But I found some other things too. A lot of cool big furniture, but I was traveling, so I obviously didn't get any of that. I just admired from afar. I did really like this ottoman though. And all of this furniture was on one half of the store, so then we made our way to the second half, which had like clothing and like other stuff that wasn't quite furniture or clothing in like a third part of the store. Found a lot of, once again, not Target things. A lot of shoes that I actually did want from Target, but I just like couldn't buy for like, I didn't have an occasion or whatever. I just talked myself out of them. But unfortunately, the styles they had that I wanted, none of them fit my feet. They didn't have a size for me, but that's kind of like the gamut of shopping at these places. Then we moved on to the third and like final part of the store, which was like towards the back and a little bit smaller, that had once again not Target brand things. Obviously not Target brand, but this part had more of like kitchen, some foods and cleaning, just like stuff that wasn't either clothing and or furniture. And then we walked down the street to what was an actual thrift shop. Doug. This place once again had like booths, and some were more curated to be like more antique-y stuff that was more expensive, and some were more like thrifty and had cheaper stuff. I I did really like the vibe of this place though, and if I had a place or a forever home like a garden center, I would have bought that iron set to put someplace, but I don't, and I couldn't travel with it either. This place had a lot of stuff that was right up my alley, a lot of the stuff that I like to hunt and specifically look for, like these vintage kitchen-y things and stuff like that. I was really drawn to this little booth with this little section of like book stand. Of course I always want the stuff that's like this stuff is displayed on, so I really wanted this book stand. But this book stand was so cool. It had a bunch of like Better Homes and Garden books from before it was a magazine. And I just thought it was so cool, but I couldn't convince myself to buy any that there wasn't one that I like really wanted out of them. I just thought they were cool. I don't know, this little section for storage or stuff to sell was kind of creepy. Why do people just put like vintage in front of something and then jack up the price? These little like cornbread mix things were like $10 a pop for like that little canvas bag. I didn't believe it. But like, look how cool those books are. I just couldn't find one. I even like looked through some of them. There was also this booth that had this really cool like gaming vibe to it. I thought it was really cool. Also, if I could figure out a way to travel with a Dr. Pepper clock, I would have bought this Dr. Pepper clock. This place also really cool. It had an ice cream shop, like an actual ice cream shop attached to it with like full of vintagey things. Then we decided we need some food, so we went to an Ozarks classic, Lambert's. And Lambert's is a lot of like classic, your mom, your grandma's cooking place, but it's known for their thrown rolls. They make rolls and somebody brings them out and they literally throw them across the restaurant to you. But it was really good. And then we went to the gift shop, of course, but there was a lot of expensive stuff in there. Bye, Lambert's. The next day we ended up going to more of like an antique mall that was huge. It had like one story and then like a loft second story. I like this vibe, this like fur over the blazer. I don't know why it caught my eye. Darling little tea set. But this place had many booths that were filled to the brim. Some of them were more curated with like bigger furniture pieces. Like this one obviously like hunted and curated for like a specific furniture vibe, like retro feel. I don't know how to say it. And of course, I'm always drawn to the vintage cameras, but I had no idea if I could ever get them working or where I would take them to get them working. But this place did have a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool booths. I really want a candy machine dispenser, but they're always so expensive. I thought this little teapot was the cutest little thing, but the glass was like really thin and delicate, and I was like, there's no way that's gonna travel back home safely. This place had a lot of mid-century modern stuff and like booths that I was really digging that day. Specifically this booth. I really love these Pepsi Cola glasses, but I had to buy the full set. And look at this. If you remember, I thrifted some glasses like that, and that was like a full set of them, which I wanted to get, but it was I had to buy the full set. I wanted that set, but it was $120. Like everything I wanted was like expensive, or like a set, like this lamp. It was really cool, and I really wanted it. But I think I could maybe DIY something similar to that. Either way, my broke ass self made a way up to like the second story loft place. My mom did not think this was as cool as I did. She just has no taste. I found this Barbie thing, which in hindsight I probably should have bought because it's probably like worth more money now that the Barbie movie's out, but I don't know. The second story was full of like a lot more like vintage clothing curated booths. Like this one specifically was like 90s and like lingerie. The next day I woke up and had coffee in my Lambert's thermal coffee mug that I got from the expensive gift shop. I met up with a friend. We went and got lunch downtown, which was really cool to see. It's been a long time since I went downtown. We went to a couple interesting places, and then we went to a few thrift stores down there as well. This first one, if you couldn't tell, was full curated 60s, 70s retro realness. This place had a lot of like bigger furniture pieces, and then also like smaller knick-knack and like memorabilia stuff, and disco balls everywhere. There was also like this back half to the store, which was pretty interesting, which just like had the stuff that wasn't like quite fully on display, like the front of the store. This looks like, I can only assume it's like a vintage like baby crib pack and play, but there was a lot of like kitchen-y stuff and like glasses back here, so I really liked back here. And look at that, I really should have got these vintage McDonald's glasses, but hindsight is 2020. This black and frosted glass set speaks to my soul, but I didn't travel with it because I was just so worried that like anything about was glass was gonna break. And this was the changing room. Isn't this such a vibe? Then as we continued to just walk and enjoy downtown, we went to a few like smaller places that I think were just people who bought like storage units and then just like put the stuff to resell, so they weren't that interesting. All time of everything that was purchased from a thrift store. First up was that corset set that you saw. I only plan on using the top, not really the skirt. And then second was this vintage t-shirt from that booth I really liked, and went back and did a second take around. I also got this sewing box, which is going to be for like the hand sewing stuff I have, not my full like sewing machine stuff that goes in another place. Then last was the knobs that you saw earlier. I got a whole bunch of different ones that I plan on using for our son's like dresser that holds all of his clothes and stuff. Like always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and if you know me really, don't talk to me about this.